Hi everyone, on to Scotland evening, so I hope you had a great day. So it's day 5 of my press ups, of 25 press ups. Hope your arms won't join in too much. Just very quickly, I'm going to talk about symptoms. So yesterday, myself and Jess was watching about Patriots Day, which is a Mark Wahlberg thing, about the Boston Marathon. Now, I only caught the end of it, and I just watched a lot of it, and it was very emotional from the side of from the victim side, from how they actually were traumatised by the event, to how they recovered. Some obviously loss of limbs, some double loss of limbs, some lost family, some lost friends, and it's their side of the story. It was a documentary, it was on a channel, it's through Sky, and you could watch that, and it basically it gives their side of actually how they went through that and how they survived and how traumatised they still are. And I couldn't imagine myself going through that, and I wouldn't want to. But these victims obviously are suffering from PTSD, and that's for the rest of their lives. Now, there's a few, I've got notes here, a few symptoms that I've definitely suffered from, and I want to read these out very quickly. So the symptoms that are quite common, and there's 17 ones, but I've written through down, is you've got intense feeling of distress. So if you've been involved in a situation where, like, I'm not saying you've been in a bombing, for instance, but in a car crash, for instance, and that car crash, you haven't got over that because you've been involved in a severe incident where something's happened to you or a friend or family, that could be severe distress. Extreme physical reactions to reminders of trauma. So, you know, physical reactions, you know, is how your body's reacting to that, and you know, and it's a reminder of basically that's kicked in. It could be delayed, like we spoke before. It could be 6 months down the line. This could happen. Invasive, upsetting memories, definitely that's a big one, isn't it? So memories, whether it's nightmares, whether it's memories that you kick in when you're sitting down, when you're I don't know, reading a book, when you're out and about, and suddenly you just freeze and it kicks in. That could be very distressing as well. Flashbacks, I've never experienced that myself, and I imagine some people have. Again, if they're involved in service, I'd imagine that kicks in again, reminding how you've been in a situation and you dealt with that. Nightmares, I've definitely had nightmares myself, and I've from myself with what's happened to myself in the prison service in very dangerous situations, dealing with violent people where they just literally want to shout at you all day, and a lot of colleagues remember this, and they literally, no matter what you do, you're trying to help them, you cannot do any right, and they just literally want to shout at you, they want to cause you harm, they want to threaten you, they threaten your family, threatening you, threatening anything to get what they want, and you deal with that every single day. And that does bring a lot of nightmares, because you dread going to work, you dread going along to that journey, because you don't want to go into work, because you're trying to do your best to help people, and all you do is throw it back in your face. That is very, very distressing. Over a period of time, that builds up and builds up and builds up. Loss of interest in life, I've never experienced that myself. I've seen it happen, especially when I served in the prison service, dealing in the hospital wing. I've seen a lot of it, and we've all dealt with it. People do self-harm, but they take it that bit further because they don't want to continue, and that again is very upsetting, and dealing with that and seeing that does cause a lot of nightmares and does bring flashbacks. I feel emotionally numb, detached from others. I suppose in a way Jess will probably agree, I have actually been that way myself before. I can just literally sit there and not talk to anyone. I'm literally in my own world, and I don't know how to talk. I go silent. Don't want to be able to communicate, and I went for a bad patch of doing that, and I literally just would sit there in silence and be very awkward, and then I suppose it affected Jess a lot because she didn't know what to do, and that was another story.
It happened on our first date, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's such hard work. Am I just going to sit there and am I going to do all the talking? But I saw through it. Obviously I didn't know the extent of everything at that point, but yeah, definitely very
affect you.
Oh, hard work.
Yeah. I think since I've got out of the prison service, been released, but since I've left the service, I definitely feel as though I'm better, but not 100%.
No, not 100%.
Never will be.
No.
Avoiding certain situations I can definitely, I think even my colleagues agree with that. When I spoke about you don't want to go into work, I did not want to go into the prison service, into the prison and actually work. Didn't want to do it. Literally, I just got emotionally so stressed out and anxious about it, getting palpitations, heart rate's racing away. I was just thinking, shit, what am I going to do? I just don't want to go there because I was so anxious, and literally I felt as though my whole world was collapsing inside of me. And then driving that car to work and not want to go through there when it's something I really wanted to do because of situations I was involved with every day, and it was getting more violent in the prison. It was getting more attacks on staff. There was more self-harming. You're dealing with situations where you can't control it, and it just overpowers you. And that, I imagine a lot of colleagues can resonate with that. It is not a good place to be, and you just want to avoid it. You don't want to go there, and you don't get any help. And that's the key. You do not get any help from the prison service. You have to ask for it, but there's no recognition. There's no training to help you with that, and it's scary, and you cannot prepare yourself for that no matter what you do. But it's about getting that help, and that's what I got. Definitely remembering important aspects of a tragic event. That obviously, if someone's been or dealing in out in the service, maybe something's happened. I mean, something's happened in a childhood, something's happened to an adulthood, and it's been a traumatic event, and you literally do not want to remember that event, because if you do, it brings back very bad memories, and you want to bury it back in the head, back in the memory, back in the brain, and you don't want to think about it because it brings back those scary situations that you've probably dealt with. So there's a few symptoms there that could and possibly would happen to someone, and it's just about, again, recognising it as friends and families. And if you see someone in that situation, just try to help them, be patient with them, sit down with them, just ask them, be polite, do you need any help? If they say no, just let them know you're there for them, and then as that time comes when they want to talk about it, you're there for them. So anyway, waffling a bit too much there, but let's do the press-ups.
Let's do it.
See if we can get it into the right aspect. Just as an insight thing, class. Just one sit on the bike. Right hands. Let's go. No. Move your bum.
Shush.
Oh, it's enough.
Just going back to the beginning, while Mark's doing those, talking about that programme we were watching yesterday. It was on Sky Documentaries, and it was about the victims of the Boston Marathon bombings, which I think was 2013. So there's loads of film that's have been made on this horrific story, but actually this really touched on the victims, the rehab, in some cases the lack of rehab that was available to them, and the extremities that some victims had to go through to actually rebuild their lives. So I definitely would say, toughen up, watch it, and prepare yourself, because it was emotion, but very, very interesting and very inspiring. So
definitely watch it, and then it may help you understand a little bit more about PTSD and how it affects people. Anyway, have a great evening.
Well done on your press-ups.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.